we have a kit here, the oil filter bypass. We're going to be putting on this 13 LML. All right, this is what comes with it. They give you some Parker hose. Very thick, strong, plasticky feeling stuff on the outside. Just looks like rubber on the inside though. But that should last for a long time. Definitely very abrasive absorbent for sure. Let's see what else we got. Here's our brackets, instructions. Here's the main mount. It looks like BK30. All right, so we gotta get that mounted up. And definitely, the directions say it can be done straight sideways, but obviously, I think it'd be best. It also says it's best to have it in the upright position like that. So these fittings are already snug. It says that I read the directions already. Do not tighten those. These are only, you're gonna undo one of those if you add like a drain port per the directions. So directions do say there's a drain port optional, and that's the only reason you would, for sampling, the only reason you'd undo those. The kit does not come with that, so you don't have to. That's fixed. It's fixed. The only thing you're doing is mounting this and then screwing the filters on, and that portion is done. That's that part right there. And it's basically this right here. Back in my 6.5 diesel days, they have a 4x4 oil filter adapter, and the only thing I don't like about that is this O-ring right here. Just makes me think future leaks are coming, and this will have to be replaced every couple of years is my initial guess. So we'll see if that's true. Hope not, and it's good for forever, but I have a feeling this is gonna need replaced at some point. Anyway, two filters. The 2% 2 micron one is right here, the APP 100, and then the regular oil filter is I believe this is going to be EA 026. I believe that's going to be the replacement for that. What's it for Duramax's 2232 oil filter from AC Delco. I think that's essentially what that is. And this is a fitting kit that you got to cut your hoses depending on where you mount it and go to work. So here's all the directions, recommended tool list. All right, I think the hardest part about this is honestly going to be getting the fittings into the hose. That's probably gonna be the hardest part. Otherwise, it doesn't look too bad. So here's optional parts: oil sample petcock, BK13, and some other fittings. Let's get the filter on there first, because that seems to be the main item that you can actually drive with, even if the hoses aren't connected. So just two ways to do that. Here's directions on how they do it. This is a pretty good direction kit, as you see right here. They say you can mount it all three ways: horizontal, at an angle, or straight down. And I think this truck has a fully boxed frame. You just need two hoses that run to the filter, so try to keep that relatively as close as you can. And then there's a nice diagram. Yeah, pretty good instructions, very good instructions actually. Very detailed with pictures, so props to them on making that. All right, so now we got this plate mounted. We're gonna be using this plate right here. It's actually from Kennedy Diesel. They make it for their lift pumps, but I got one just to kind of use on the frame here on the LML. And I think it's going to work out just fine, so we're going to use it. This is how this works. It's going to sit right here on the frame, and the filters are going to be on the inside, hanging down. And because it's raised like this, it's not going to be, it's going to be above the bottom of the frame, so that'll be safe per se. And this is stainless steel. The hardware that came with the kit, stainless steel, so it should last a long time. But let's go get it mocked up. I already got my drill bit and my tap. Let's see, I got my hammer, got my punch, I got all my stainless hardware. Here's a drill bit I used last time, and the tap is going to be get a drill bit and a tap that works, and it'll fit your whatever size bolts you're using. I'm using these right here. And oh, here's my bolt list that I have from Ace Hardware. All right, so we're going. I'm thinking I'm going to put it right about here. So there's where the fuel cooler is, or in my truck I got a lift pump. You know, there's the cross member and one of the brake controllers here, the transfer case. So we're right below the extended cab, and I'm going to need. I lifted up these 3 brackets. I just popped the pin out. This one, the one behind it, and then one in front of it, and that should give me enough lift to slide that bracket underneath it. You cannot slide it in with the filters already on. It's just too long and it'll hit this. I'm hoping I can get it in without breaking anything. That's an inch of clearance. That should, basically once it's going in, it doesn't want to become in and out. But we're gonna have the filters right here. There's a spot that comes out, so we're gonna try to set the filters right straight down here, and that way it won't hit nothing. All right, so it's there. I've got it under the brakes, and I'll leave the things popped up until this is bolted in. But I'm gonna mock up my filters just to make sure they don't hit, which I'm fairly sure right here they're clear. This is as far forward as I can go, actually, because on this side there is a tab that holds that in, so I'd have to remove that if I wanted to go even more forward. With that said, I think this is going to clear, so we're just going to push this up here, mark it, and then drill. I'm going to drill 1. I guess I could drill up to 3 holes, but I'm going to drill probably 2, and that should suffice. Yeah, this is going to be a good spot for it, up and out of the way. All right, so I got our holes drilled. Let's see now. All right, so we got 3, and notice how they're different sizes. The 2 out, this is gonna be extra secure. Really, when Kennedy sells this lift pump, his lift pumps, he sells 1 bolt, and that's enough because the majority of the weight is resting on this anyway. It can't really move side to side. Once a bolt in is because, you know, part of the frame blocks it from going that way. And this is just to keep it from going this way. So this is going to be super secure. We're going to use this self-tapping bolt in the smaller middle hole. And then we're going to tap for these larger stainless ones that I have. See, it just needs tapped, and then it'll fit. So this will have 3 holding it, or at least 2, probably 3 if I lined them all up right. And this thing will be on here till the end of time. All right, all these 3 are in, secure. This piece is back in. I drilled 3 holes because the cab was kind of in a way. I wasn't sure if I was gonna get any of them right. And I was hoping not to get 1 right. Turns out I made all 3 perfect, and they all went in. So these 2 are threaded into the frame at a bigger size, and this one was just a self-tapper. But it's all stainless, including the bracket, so I probably could just paint over if I wanted to, make it look better. But yeah, thanks to the good old Craftsman sockets and a Napa ratchet, those are in there. All right, so it looks like this on this side, from straight up next to the frame. All right, so let's put the filters on there. All right, so filters are on. That's the amount of clearance you have, and it's enough. See right there? It's enough that that is a brake line, so maybe put a little bit of, you know, rubber hose or some heat protection right there, but tons of clearance over here. It's definitely just this bigger filter that's a little bit closer. It doesn't exactly pull away, because when you're installing everything, it's actually touching. But once you snug those down and the plate's flat, it pulls this level, and then they back away a little bit. And I'm not too worried about this. I'm probably gonna leave it as is. Your brake line tab is back in, and then What I am probably gonna do is put some rubber right here, just in case this is on the frame. I'll have some rubber between the two, and that'll save any vibration holes being drilled in my brake lines. All right, so the bracket's on the truck. So next up, we're going to get one of these hose ends cut, and then get our front filter mount on, and then we're gonna hook this one side up to you know, one of the ones on here or one of the ones on the other side, doesn't matter, and we'll run this to see how far we actually need it, and then we'll kind of put a tab on the hose and snip it there and put the other fitting on, and so we have one good line. That's what we're gonna do. We're gonna get some oil from an oiler. We got to get our threads oiled up a little bit and inside that hose, and then we're gonna spin on this one here in the vise. All right. All right, so we got this here. So this is, before you tighten this nut in the center, place this where you want. All right, and then because you're gonna snug this down pretty good and it's gonna spin, you probably want to get that other fitting in there pretty firm so you have something to hold while you tighten this. All right, so this is pretty big. This is a 45 millimeter socket. That's pretty big. It's 45 millimeter, but that's what it is. 3/4 inch. I don't know if you can get a 1/2 inch 45. All right, so that's on there. What I had to do is my this fitting right here the base kept turning as I tightened this, so I ended up sticking a breaker bar or a pry bar just to hold it right there against the manifold, and then I was able to tighten this big nut with the 45 millimeter. All right, then I just used a 1-inch wrench to get that tight at the angle I wanted, which is, you know, right about there. They're both gonna be coming this way. And then this guy, let's get the old 25 on there. And once I tighten this one down, it's only about 50 foot-pounds or so. And it's got an O-ring, so you definitely don't want to over-tighten it. But I'll do that after I put the phone down. But once that is tight, make sure you have some lube, a little bit of oil on, make sure you have a little bit of oil on the O-ring down here, the O-ring right here, and the O-ring right here, and the O-ring right here, so that there are no leaks and it tightens itself down as tight as it can without tearing up any rubber. All right, so I got one fitting done on one side, and I routed it where I want it to go. All right, so I'm gonna hold it up to where I know it needs to go. I'm gonna put a mark right there on it, and then take the hose out and cut it, and install the other fitting. All right, first one's on, and I just marked up the second one. Remember to leave you definitely can't do it too short, because then, I mean, you can't put this back on, but keep in mind the fittings that they give you do take up a fair bit of space. And also you gotta consider, see how it's at an angle, it's not straight. Honestly, I probably could go back a little bit, but like I said, I'd rather be safe than sorry and not be pulling on the brake lines too hard. But these hoses are not super flexible, so they kind of hold themselves up. But I'm probably gonna put just some rubber hose or something around those brake lines right there, just so engine heat doesn't touch them. All right, there's the front. It's done. As you can see, because of the strength of the line, it's not super flimsy. Kind of holds itself up off the frame and away from the suspension. As we get down here, goes through those lines over there. And like I said, I'm just going to put a little, there's one towards the back over there that the top line kind of does touch a little bit. And I'm just going to put some wire loom around the hard line. And these should be good for, it's touching, looks like it's touching the frame just a hair. We'll see if I can't maybe tie them together with a zip tie, something to hold them up. Or tie them to this loom as well. I'll get it off everything. And there's the back. I had about 15, 16 inches. Now maybe more than that. I had a little under 2 feet left of hose, so I only used 10.5 feet or so. So this was a good spot, and it's out the way. Easy access for filter changes in the future. All right, let's make sure we got oil pressure. There it goes. All right. I'm going to consider right at the 250,000 mile mark, we now have 2 micron filtered engine oil running through this motor. All right, well, thanks for watching, guys. Check out my other videos if you need to see more on the Duramax pickups.